I found this old chest of drawers for $15 in the thrift store recently, and I'll be the first to admit, I thought, why even bother saving this old painted piece? The style is certainly less desirable when compared to mid-century modern designs. Even in excellent condition, the value of this piece may only be a few $100s. But there's still something so satisfying about removing layers of paint from old furniture to once again reveal the hidden beauty of the natural and unique patterns in the wood grain. It's old furniture pieces like this that hold so many incredible stories and carry a charm that new furniture lacks today. So I decided to bring it home and find out what was hiding under all the paint. This utility chest was manufactured around the 1940s by Cavalier, and the new stowaway design was advertised for any room in the home. It was offered in 3 different styles and wood species. There was the early American style in maple, the modern style and the 18th century style in both mahogany and striped walnut. In the 1940s, prices started at $39.50. I'll first prepare to remove the drawer pulls and the 3 drawers that are made from solid cedar. Using this wood species for the drawers and adding vents should make more sense in a moment. This pull style was common on pieces from the 1930s and 1940s. Old drawer pulls were often made from brass, copper, iron, or steel. These are magnetic, leading me to believe they're just plated, maybe with a thin layer of copper that's certainly tarnished over the years. I already mentioned a unique feature on this piece, the vented drawers made from solid cedar. The aroma from the natural oils in cedar would help repel insects that could cause damage to clothing stored inside. The slots provided additional ventilation, helping to preserve the contents within. I've actually never seen this type of dresser before, but that certainly doesn't mean it's rare. I'll tape off all of the holes for the hardware to prevent the paint stripper from getting inside the drawers. With the drawers removed, it actually looks like this piece was built using mostly solid cedar, much like that of a traditional cedar chest. The paint looks to have been brushed on, and thankfully it tested negative for lead. I recently thrifted this large rug for $10, and it has helped my feet during long hours in the shop. To help protect it, I'll put down some cheap furniture pads and blankets to reduce the mess from the chemical paint remover. This appears to be at least 1 thick coat of paint, and I've chosen to use a chemical stripper that I use often for my paint removal projects, Clean Strip's Premium Stripper. I'll brush on a thick coat of this chemical stripper and let it sit for about 30 minutes. The temperatures vary here in Wisconsin during the winter. Last week we had sub-zero temperatures, but today we're lucky to be experiencing 52 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about 60 degrees in the workshop at the moment. This is an ideal temperature for the finish remover. I use these cans from the hardware store to collect and dispose of the old paint. The paint was so thick on this dresser and required a second application of the paint stripper. However, a second application is still much easier than trying to remove this much leftover paint with a scraper or sander during the next step. Once I've scraped most of the paint and the chemical stripper, I'll use this paint stripper afterwash by Clean Strip with some coarse steel wool. I'll scrub this in and try and remove most of this with some shop rags. It's hard to believe this is already my 4th year as a creator here on YouTube, and through the process, I've learned so much just from your feedback alone. The steps for refinishing furniture are often the same, so it's a constant struggle to focus on creative ways to keep my videos interesting and inspiring. I'm sure a handful of viewers watch my content because they also refinish furniture, but the truth is, many of you have your own unique set of skills and hobbies that you wish to share with others. Sharing our work with one another is one of the most rewarding parts of any hobby. Using Skillshare for the last several years has helped me expand my skills and continue to find new ways to be creative. Think about the hobbies that you enjoy the most, and imagine having one large online learning community for creatives that offers thousands of classes for these hobbies taught by industry experts. When I first started this channel, I had passion and creativity, but I didn't know much about filmmaking, editing, or even the woodworking and furniture restoration skills needed to make great content. Finding useful resources online was tough, and I wish I had discovered Skillshare sooner. I've been using Skillshare for years now, and if you've seen my channel grow, you've probably noticed how much I've benefited, especially from courses on filming, editing, and storytelling. But it's not just video skills. Skillshare has also helped me refine my woodworking techniques and find new ways to market my business on social media. I have a restoration project coming to the channel soon, and I've been using Skillshare to find in-depth courses to learn how to sew. Learning from experienced instructors at my own pace has made a huge difference. Sometimes the hardest part when starting any new project is knowing where to start and finding ways to harness your creativity. So if you're looking to start something new or just sharpen your skills, Skillshare can help you unlock your potential. The first 500 people to use my link in the video description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So why wait? Start learning today. And thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. While removing the paint from the body of the dresser, I discovered that the keyhole was for a monolock mechanism that would secure all 3 drawers simultaneously. I'm still hopeful that one day I will find a key that will work for this dresser. To help remove the paint from hard-to-reach areas, I like to use a surface cleanser by QCS and a variety of brass brushes. It takes a few gentle passes to make sure this method is not too abrasive. There are some areas where it's just more efficient to remove the paint with a carbide scraper, but this method does require some practice, and you do run the risk of gouging the wood if you move too fast. I had hoped to keep this copper color for the hardware, but so much of the plating was already removed, making these nearly impossible to polish. So I used a toothbrush, some fine steel wool, and Barkeeper's Friend to polish these down to just the steel. With some remaining patina, the pulls didn't look too bad like this, so I decided to protect them with some lacquer for brass before they had a chance to tarnish. Although I don't like to spray paint old hardware, I think I still prefer a gold color and may paint these at a later time. For now, you'll see this raw finish. I find that I'm more efficient when I take the time to clean up and set up an organized workspace for each new step. To prepare for sanding, I'll replace the filters in the respirator, plug in and test the sanders, and prepare the air hose. This old dresser has helped me keep all my sanding supplies more organized. For this project, I'll use a variety of sanding sheets and pads with the Surf Prep Power Sander, and with various hand sanding blocks. Many of you ask how long these projects take me, and I don't often know since half of my time is spent filming and editing, but here's a quick look at how I try to plan out just the furniture work. If you look on the bottom sides of the drawer fronts, it should be easy to identify a thin layer of veneer. In this case, the veneer is at least 2 millimeters thick, and not paper thin like many mid-century pieces. This will certainly minimize the risk of passing through the veneer while sanding. I'll first use 150 grit sandpaper to refresh every square inch of these drawers. This will help reopen the pores of the red cedar. The aroma should be obvious during this step. There were 2 drawer spikes missing, but I had plenty left over from one of my last projects, and this was an easy fix. I sanded the bottom side of the dresser with the orbital sander, then tightened the screws to secure the base. There's still a lot of hand sanding to do to remove the rest of this paint from the base of the dresser. This next discovery completely changed my plans for this project. A black line all the way down the side, and there were more on the other side. I tried to remove them by continuing to sand, but they were there to stay. This had to be from the factory, maybe from the way they pressed the veneer. This discovery left me disappointed, and once I realized this was walnut veneer, I had a vision of a beautiful contrast between the brass-colored hardware and natural-looking walnut finished with a hard-waxed oil. But now, both of these ideas wouldn't even be possible, especially when I realized that the front of this dresser wasn't even covered with walnut edge banding. Trust me when I say that I was disappointed enough to want to give up on this project completely, especially since there was still this large crack on the side of the dresser. This was likely caused by the natural expansion and contraction of the lumber underneath the layer of veneer. Filling this with wood glue and sawdust may not be the best solution. It certainly won't fix the crack, nor will it completely conceal it. But most of my projects are not about museum quality restorations and factory finishes. If done right, most of my work is meant to tastefully preserve the character and imperfections of each piece, celebrating decades of normal wear and tear. Because of the stark contrast between several different wood species on this piece, I decided to apply a dark walnut oil-based penetrating stain. Although not my first choice, as mentioned, I do think the original color of this dresser was very similar. For the final step, I'll protect this dresser with several coats of satin clear lacquer. Some might look at this finished product and think it now looks dated, like all the rest that very few people actually want. I picture this dark, moody piece with its raw drawer pulls and exposed character from years of damage being the perfect fit for a cabin somewhere up north, maybe even in a dark room next to the fireplace. Imagine if I return this to the thrift store, how fast someone might purchase this and paint over all my hard work. That's fine, I don't lose sleep over any of that. I'm just grateful to be able to share my journey with you. My name is Barry, and thanks for joining me. Goodbye for now.